Argentina is governed by a right-wing libertarian named Javier Milei. He proudly calls himself an anarcho-capitalist, and when he campaigned for president in 2023, he brought a chainsaw to rallies and he pledged to cut government spending down to the bone. He also promised that he was going to dollarize the Argentine economy to get rid of his country's monetary sovereignty and to adopt the US dollar as the official currency of the country. Since he came to power in December 2023, Milei has been one of the most pro-US leaders on earth, and he has allied himself very closely with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Not only do they agree politically on most issues, but also Argentina has some of the world's largest lithium reserves. And Elon Musk is the CEO of Tesla, which needs a lot of lithium for the batteries in its electric vehicles. And he's hoping he can get access to large supplies of very cheap lithium in Argentina. Although it has become uncertain if Milei will even be able to finish his presidential term, because in February 2025, he unleashed a massive scandal when he promoted a cryptocurrency scam that led tens of thousands of his own supporters to lose tens of millions of dollars. Milei promoted a meme coin called Libra, and he told people to invest in it. And what happened, it was known as a rug pull. It was a pump and dump scheme where a small handful of investors who had inside knowledge bought up huge sums of the coin in the early hours as there was a massive rally, and then they immediately sold their holdings and the price crashed. It was a classic pump and dump scheme, except this happened in record time. More than 100 lawsuits were filed in Argentina accusing the president of fraud and being part of a pump and dump scheme because a notorious meme coin marketer had actually been collaborating with Milei, and he identified himself as an advisor to Milei, and he admitted that his team bought up the Libra coin immediately when it was launched in a very shady practice known as sniping. This led crypto media outlets to accuse Milei's ally of rigging the game for insiders. And by the way, I should point out that some of the same people were behind the launch of the meme coin Melania that was backed by Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump. And Trump himself also launched a meme coin. And in all of these cases, we've seen huge pump and dump schemes where in a few hours the price of the meme coin skyrockets and then almost immediately it crashes. The vast majority of investors lose their money, and a small handful of people get extremely rich. So what this shows is that these right-wing leaders like Javier Milei and Donald Trump are actually exploiting their own supporters. They're promoting pump and dump schemes to their own supporters. And as tragic as this is, it's actually a perfect example of what Milei has been doing to the economy of Argentina. Under his extreme libertarian policies, more than half of the population in Argentina is now living in poverty. He's trying to push through extreme anti-worker policies like increasing the workday from 8 hours to 12 hours. And his extreme policies are leading to the rapid deindustrialization of the Argentine economy, which is basically becoming a kind of resource colony for US corporations. So Argentina will no longer have its own industry. Instead, its economy will be based on simply exporting agricultural products and raw materials like lithium to US corporations who will benefit. And meanwhile, foreign investors have been very happy because the stock market in Argentina has been growing very rapidly, but the real economy is in severe crisis and recession. So there's a deindustrialization and a simultaneous financialization of the economy. It looks like the Argentine economy is doing well because of this big financial bubble, which has been inflated by foreign investors who support Milei. But after Milei started facing crises, including his promotion of this cryptocurrency scam, we've already seen some investors flee out of Argentina. So today I'm going to explain how Argentina is in a very dangerous situation and its economy is in severe crisis. But to understand how we got here, we need to look at the past few years. and see how Milei has increasingly turned Argentina into a semi-colony of the United States. Now, back in 2023, Argentina had a center-left government that was trying to join BRICS, and it actually had been invited to join BRICS at the 2023 summit. However, when Milei came to power in December of that year, he rejected the invitation and prevented Argentina from joining BRICS. To justify his decision, Milei attacked China and Russia, condemning them as communists. Apparently, he thinks Russia is still communist. And at an event at a U.S. think tank, Milei said, quote, "Our geopolitical alignment is with the United States and Israel. We are not going to align ourselves with communists," end quote. So in addition to allying as closely as possible with the United States, Milei has also strongly supported Israel as it has carried out crimes against humanity in Gaza, and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu faces an arrest warrant at the International Criminal Court. But Milei's government in Argentina has been one of the very few countries on earth that has joined with the United States in voting against the vast majority of the international community at the United Nations General Assembly. Argentina has opposed the right of the Palestinian people to have their own country, and Argentina has supported Israel's illegal occupation of Palestinian territory. Milei has also given free rein to the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency to operate in Argentina, and he invited the CIA director to come to Buenos Aires to meet with top government officials, and they signed an agreement in which the CIA will train Argentina's intelligence services on how to combat what they call terror. While Milei calls himself a libertarian, he has also embraced right-wing conservative cultural policies. He wants the state to ban abortion and control women's bodies. And he also has strongly supported Spanish colonialism, praising the history of Spanish colonialism in the Americas, which is as authoritarian as something gets, supporting colonialism. He has also strongly allied Argentina with Ukraine and supported Ukraine in the NATO proxy war against Russia. He even invited Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, to his inauguration in Argentina, and they did a photo shoot in which they had a big hug. Milei has also given the U.S. military control over key parts of Argentina, including he gave the U.S. military an Argentine ammunition factory for weapons, and now this Argentine ammunition factory is creating military equipment for Ukraine and NATO on behalf of the U.S. military. Now, given Argentina's extremely pro-U.S. geopolitical alignment, it's no surprise to see that the Western media has praised Milei, and especially conservative media outlets in the West. The International Monetary Fund, the IMF, which is dominated by the U.S. and based in Washington, has also praised Milei, and the financial press in the West has loved Milei and constantly congratulated him. And it's easy to explain why. Milei has made the rich much, much richer in Argentina and in other countries. If you're a wealthy foreign investor and you invested in Argentina's main stock index, the Merval, you made a lot of money. If you invested in the Argentine stock market in October 2023 when Milei won the election, in the next 14 months, your investment increased by 4 times over. So obviously a lot of rich people have been very happy with Milei because even though a majority of the population is living in poverty, they have gotten much richer. Although I should say that the stock market peaked in early January 2025, and in January and February, it did start to fall, especially after Milei caused a huge scandal in Argentina by promoting a cryptocurrency pump and dump scheme that led thousands of his own supporters to lose tens of millions of dollars. But what's crazy about that is that even though Milei is facing over 100 lawsuits and legal complaints and a formal investigation for fraud allegations and calls for impeachment, despite that and the relative fall in the stock market, even if investors in the Argentine stock market didn't sell their holdings, they're still way up compared to where they were when Milei took office. So this is why many foreign financial media outlets are portraying the economy under Milei as if it were doing well. Some people are even calling it a miracle. However, the stock market is not the real economy. Yes, the stock market in Argentina has done great, But the real economy has been in severe crisis. Hundreds of thousands of jobs have been destroyed. Social spending has been completely gutted. And the majority of people in Argentina are living in poverty. This is according to official data published by Argentina's Ministry of the Economy, which is overseen by Milei's government. The economic ministry has something called the INDEC, which is the National Institute of Statistics. And in September, they published a report that showed that 52.9%, that is 53% of people in Argentina, are living in poverty. This same report noted that the average cost of a basic basket of goods and services that a household needs to survive, things like food and electricity and water, that costs 709,000 Argentine pesos every month. However, the average household income of a family in Argentina is only 407,000 pesos, so they can't even afford the basic basket that they need. And just the basic basket of food to not starve, the basic food basket in Argentina costs 349,000 Argentine pesos per month, which is a bit lower than the average income. So Argentine families on average are making just enough money to not starve, to feed themselves, but the actual quality of their life has gotten significantly worse. Milei is also trying to push through so-called labor reform that would allow a 12-hour workday without overtime pay. So, of course, the limit now is 8. So if you're a worker and you don't want to work 12 hours without getting paid extra, your boss can fire you. No questions asked. And another part of this so-called labor reform, which is being demanded by Argentine oligarchs, is that they want to be able to pay their workers with tickets. They actually use that term in Spanish, ticket. And that means that part of your pay will actually be in real money, but then the other part of your pay will be in coupons that you can only use at supermarkets or a few specific businesses. These are the policies that Milei is trying to push through. They're as anti-worker as policies get. And of course, these policies benefit the billionaires and millionaires who supported Milei during his presidential campaign and who strongly continue to support him today, not only inside Argentina, but also around the world, especially in Silicon Valley and on Wall Street. And also in Argentina, many of the media outlets are owned by billionaire and millionaire oligarchs who are very right-wing and who also have supported Milei. A poll in June 2024 found that 72% of people in Argentina say that they were worse off under Milei, and that the majority of people in the country had to use their savings in order to meet their everyday needs, to buy things like food. What's strange, though, is that he still had an approval rating of 43%. Now, obviously, that's not very high. That means that the majority of people disapprove of him. But if 43% approve of him, that means that some people who admit that they're worse off economically under him still support him, which shows the power of propaganda in the media, which has convinced people that supposedly he's going to make their lives better. But while their lives are getting worse and they're living in poverty, they still believe what the billionaire-owned media outlets are telling them, that supposedly Milei will make their life better. Another report that was published by the National Institute of Statistics at the Ministry of the Economy, so again, this was published by Milei's government. In a report from December, they looked at the distribution of income, and they found that the richest 10% of people in Argentina are making 24.5% of all of the income. The richest 20% are making roughly 40% of all income. The richest 30% are making more than 50% of all income. And the bottom 50% of people in Argentina are only making 29% of the income. And this is just income. Most rich people are not rich because they have high levels of income. They are rich because they have assets. They make investments. Just looking at income inequality, we see that Argentina is extremely unequal, and a small handful of elites are benefiting from Milei's policies. So what have those policies been? Well, Milei has been aggressively cutting government spending. He reduced the government budget by 30%. He fired 30,000 government employees, and he closed 13 government ministries. Among the ministries he closed were the Ministry of Education, which he closed, the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation was closed, the Ministry of Transportation, overseeing public transportation, was closed, the Ministry of Work, Employment, and Social Security was closed, the Ministry of Public Works closed, the Ministry of the Environment was closed, the Ministry of Women was closed, and the Ministry of Tourism and Sports was closed, along with other ministries. Now, what's ironic for a so-called libertarian is that while he's slashing social spending to the bone, Milei has been drastically expanding spending on the police, spy agencies, and the military. So this is real, actually existing libertarianism, which is cutting healthcare and education and infrastructure and massively expanding spending on the repressive apparatus of the state. The police, the cops, the military, the spies. The Secretariat of Intelligence in Argentina had its budget increased by 216% in the first year of Milei. 216% increase, including also a big increase for the military and the police budget. But what are the parts of the government that have seen the largest cuts? The largest cut was for the Secretariat of Science, Technology, and Innovation. As I said, the ministry was closed down, and instead he made it a smaller desk in another ministry. The Secretariat of Science, Technology, and Innovation had its budget cut by 98%. So destroying science and innovation in the country. And as I'll talk about later, what Milei is really doing is he's destroying industry in Argentina, overseeing massive deindustrialization, and he's basically turning Argentina into an agricultural colony of the Western powers, of the US and Europe that previously colonized Argentina. The modern day area of Argentina was originally colonized by the Spanish Empire, and then the British Empire had basically unofficially colonized Argentina. It was known as an unofficial British colony. And what Milei is doing is destroying an entire generation of skilled workers, of technicians, of engineers, scientists, doctors. He's turning the country into a resource colony for US corporations like Tesla, run by billionaire oligarchs like Elon Musk, who want access to Argentina's lithium, and they want access to other minerals, and they want Argentina's agricultural sector to continue sending food around the world. But Argentina, as a technologically advanced society, is being destroyed. This report in the newspaper El País quoted the Argentine network of authorities of institutes of science and technology, which warned that, quote, investment in science and technology is collapsing today in Argentina, reaching its lowest level since the restoration of democracy in 1983, end quote. Before that, in the 1970s, Argentina was run by a right-wing military dictatorship, which was backed by the United States, basically a US puppet regime. And what we're seeing now is massive brain drain. Anyone with advanced scientific, engineering, medical background in Argentina is looking for a way out. They're going to other countries. So Argentina is losing an entire generation of advanced skilled workers on behalf of the stock market. But the stock market's growing up, so we're supposed to believe that Milei is great and he's helping the country while he's actually destroying an entire generation. So that was the biggest cut. The second biggest cut under Milei was the Ministry of Infrastructure, which he cut by 73.6%. He cut the National Secretariat for Children, Youth, and Family by 60%. He cut the Secretariat of Education, formerly the Ministry of Education, by 52%. And he cut the Ministry of Health by 28%. And the government budget cuts were so extreme that the Ministry of Culture didn't even have toilet paper. They could not afford toilet paper. So when you hear these, US propagandists claim there's no toilet paper in Venezuela, you should remind them, no, actually, it's not Venezuela, it's Argentina where there's no toilet paper, thanks to Javier Milei. If you want to get more information about what's actually going on, please like and subscribe. Please follow our work here at Geopolitical Economy Report. I am Ben Norton. I'm the editor-in-chief of Geopolitical Economy Report. Thank you for joining me today for this very long analysis. I will see you all next time.